An earnest prayer has great power and produces wonderful results. So let us begin this baronial occasion with due reverence to the Almighty.
Ma'am, there is a problem with the audio.
My audio? I can hear you.
No, not yours, sir.
Okay, the prayer.
Song.
Okay.
Prayer song.
Okay. We can have a silent prayer and start. There's no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, it's going to play right now. There was a
Okay.
problem.
Good.
Okay, sir. Okay.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடங்கை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் மதனமென திகழ்வரத இக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனும் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு நிறை முதலும் தரித்தன திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறந்து எங்கு செயல் மறந்து பார்ப்பதுமே பார்ப்பதுமே பார்ப்பதுமே.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All of us are well aware of the current pandemic, the COVID-19, which has created the greatest impact in the whole of the world in recent times. The aviation industry has now been gripped in one of the worst crises it has ever faced. But crisis management is not new to the airline industry. The industry has successfully managed to tide over the crisis in the past and has gracefully bounced back to normalcy, thanks to the outstanding efforts and expertise of the crisis management experts in the airline industry. Today, we have a dignitary with nearly 3 decades of experience in airport and airline crisis management, Dr. H.A. Munaf, current Joint Director of Vidya Bharati Group of Institutions, a leading IATA authorized training center in Cochin, Kerala, to share his expertise on effectively handling airline crisis. A hearty welcome to you, sir, on behalf of all of us here.
Thank you.
A table full of welcome makes scarce one dainty dish. We are honored to call upon our cherished Dean and Director, Dr. P.R. Balaji, to formally welcome the assemblage.
Thank you, ma'am. Our beloved CEO and Secretary, Dr. Krishna Kumar, Nehru Group of Institutions. Today's chief guest and my very good friend, Dr. Munaf, the Joint Director for the Vidya Bharati Group of Institutions, former Airport Manager, Air India, the faculty members, the Professor Emeritus, Dr. Muthuswamy, Head of the Department, Professor Singar Vedivelu, all the other faculty members of the BSc, BBA and MBA, and my dear final year students and the first year students of MBA. Very good morning to you all, and it gives me an immense pleasure on this wonderful Wednesday morning to welcome you all for a wonderful webinar. Today, the webinar is on a very apt topic. We have selected the topic airport handling, tackling the exigencies, the emergencies faced at the airport, and who can be the right person to address on such issues. Dr. Munaf, when I approached him 2 days back, in fact, it's other way around. I received a call from Dr. Munaf, just a courtesy call to find out the well-being of me and my family. And that is the time I thought I'd like to make use of the opportunity. I requested him, sir, why don't you address my students on a digital platform? He gracefully accepted, and he only suggested this topic, and I felt during this pandemic crisis, it's very, very apt for the students to know what kind of emergencies the airport can face and how do we overcome. The gentleman who carries with him more than 3 decades of experience handling the aircraft in different airports, not only in India, he has also worked abroad, and he would have faced many such problems during his services. I have worked in Muscat as a counter supervisor with Air France, where I used to handle difficult passengers and different type of passengers. But when you are working as an airport manager, you would have come across a lot of VIP moments, the chief ministers traveling, prime minister, the bomb threats, terrorist attacks, then technical snags, emergency landings, all those issues, and I'm sure in his 30 years of experience, he would have faced. And today, he is here to share all his experiences with the dear students. Students, whenever we bring the industrial person, it is an opportunity for you all to hear from them and clear your doubts. Dr. Munaf has also agreed to answer the question and sessions once he completes his speech. Today, it's a day for you to listen to the chief guest. So I would like to once again welcome you all for this wonderful webinar. Kindly pay attention and please mute your audio as well as your video so that there will be more clarity when the chief guest is going to address you. So I once again welcome Dr. Munaf to our Nehru Group of Institutions, to our MBA department. Sir, it gives us an immense pleasure to see you again in this digital platform. And I also welcome our CEO and Secretary, Dr. Krishna Kumar, for our webinar. And I welcome each and everyone present here on this digital platform. Thank you. Thank you once again and welcome you all. Over to the MOC.
Thank you, sir, for your cordial reception. Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things. We are greatly privileged to beseech our esteemed CEO and Secretary, NGI, Dr. B. Krishna Kumar, to relinquish the presidential address.
Good morning to all of you. Hope it is audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's a great honor to be part of this one-day webinar which is organized by MBA and Airline Airport Management. And we are honored with one of the greatest personality who was having more than 3 decades of experience in airline industry. Also heading the institution at Kerala, which is famous for IATA programs. Our most respected chief guest, Dr. H.A. Munaf, Joint Director, Vidya Bharati Group of Institutions, and ex-Air India Airport Manager, Sales Manager and Reservation Manager, and our respected Dean, Dr. Balaji, our Professor Emeritus, Professor Muthusamy, other faculty members, participant students, head of the Department of BSc program, and other well-wishers who are being part of today's session. I think, as my dean said, this topic is having a lot of relevance right now because everyone expected the second wave of COVID may not again give a turbulence for different industries. But the way things are now progressing, which is affecting, I think it is really alarming for all of us, especially on a tourism, travel, hospitality industry. And this program, MBA Airline Airport Management, is more towards aviation related, hospitality related course, which really all of us is really worrying how the industry is going to take up this shock. Already one financial year has passed and the second financial year has just started and this second wave has come. Yes, we all know that always human beings are capable of overcoming the difficulties, preparing mentally themselves to see that all the difficulties will be overcome by the findings of human being for the benefit of humans. So today, I think being we are a part of a biggest populated country, it is not in the hands of just of the leaders of the country or the politicians of the country. I think the huge population which we have and which requires to get the vaccine, I think it will take another 2 to 3 months, and I hope things will be back. Things will be back within 45 days or 60 days. But all of us has to understand one thing. All these difficult situations would have we all faced. Those who are already, they have seen 3 decades, 4 decades of aviation industry. For them, this will be another experience of preparing themselves for coming out with the new strategies to overcome the difficulties. I'm really happy to be part of this session, and also I wish or request all my student participants is that always be positive and always feel that the world is for us and difficulties is part of our life, and this kind of things once in a while it will come, but we all overcome and we all be part of a successful journey of our life, where in which the difficulty what we are suffering right now, the fruits of this will come in a better way, where in which you will be part of this proud aviation industry, where you will spearhead different aviation, airline industries, airports, so that you will get a better experience of knowing the difficulties, how to manage the difficulties and uncertainties. I think today's speaker will be highlighting more specific on that, and I'm really thankful to him. And also, I feel honor and privilege to be part of this session, and I wish all of you a very great day ahead, and also think always positivity. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, sir, for wonderful words of wisdom and such an outstanding presidential address. We now welcome our Ayata Ma'am, Madam Maliga, to etch the profile of the chief guest. Welcome, Ma'am.
A commander's toughest task during a crisis is not to do what is right, but to know what is right. I take immense pride to etch the profile of our decorated chief guest, Dr. H.A. Munaf. Dr. H.A. Munaf was with Air India in senior positions for more than 3 decades. He has worked as Air India's manager, airport manager, sales manager, and reservations manager in stations like Trivandrum, Cochin, Bahrain, and Jeddah. He is probably the aviation professional with the longest airline experience and the highest academic qualifications in Kerala. Speaking about his academic qualifications, he has a PhD in Aviation and Tourism from London, MBA in Tourism Management, MA in Public Administration, MA in English Literature, a degree in Law with a gold medal, postgraduate qualification in German with a first rank, PG diploma in tourism with first rank. He is besides an accredited IATA trainer after having completed the Train the Trainer program in the IATA Training Center at Singapore. He holds 3 first ranks in 3 different universities in India. He is a public speaker and has given many lectures in India and abroad on topics like aviation, tourism, communication skills, non-verbal communication, leadership, and has also conducted a few management development programs for corporate executives. He was the course consultant to KITS Trivandrum. He was also chairman of the board of airline representatives in Bahrain and Trivandrum. He was also chairman of the Airline Operators Committee at Trivandrum International Airport. He was the vice president of Qatar Airways Cargo GSA for Kerala region and the CEO of RAK Airways GSA for Kerala. He was invited by Mathrubhumi, a leading Malayalam daily, to speak about careers in the aviation sector at the Mathrubhumi Aspire Education Fair held in Kannur. He is presently the Joint Director of Vidya Bharati Group of Institutions in Cochin, another leading IATA authorized training center in Kerala. We are profusely honored to invite you, sir, to share your expertise and enrich our knowledge on today's topic. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for the nice words. It's really heartening when you get recognized in a great institution like yours. Now, it's a hat trick for me, like I mentioned, because this is the third time I am being a part of a seminar, even though it is a webinar. The previous 2 times, I was personally present there as a chief guest for 2 functions. So it's a hat trick for me. And I'm really honored to be a part of this webinar. And I'm taking a cue from Dr. Krishna Kumar regarding the present scenario where there is a lull in the travel and tourism and aviation industry due to COVID. Now, I would like to assure our students who are present there is light at the end of the road. COVID-19 will leave us because a lot of positive things are happening. The vaccination process is on. And with this, I think, like Dr. Krishkumar said, within about 45 to 2 months, things should improve considerably, and we will be back to normal very soon. And I should compliment the students who are assembled today for the webinar that don't be dismayed, because you are a part and parcel of the travel and tourism industry, which is the fastest growing industry. Presently, there is a lull, as you all know, globally. The situation will definitely increase, and you will have a glamorous future very soon once the COVID leaves us. Now, I think you have chosen me, and you will hear, like they say, straight from the horse's mouth, my experiences in airport in handling emergencies, the so-called contingencies and problems faced at the airport from the airline's point of view. Now, what are the possible emergencies or exigencies that an airline faces at an airport? I would like to list out a few. The first I would like to talk about is the inordinate delays to a flight. Inordinate delays, there may be so many reasons. I will narrate it in the examples so that it becomes easy for the students to understand. My background is with Air India basically, even though after my retirement I was the CEO for Archivist GSA and Qatar Airways Cargo GSA. But basically the examples I'll be giving you is what I have experienced myself in my functioning of airport manager with Air India and of course Air India Express also, which also I handle. Now, inordinate delays. For instance, let's assume there's a flight coming from Dubai to Cochin, and the flight is the flight manager in Trivandrum Airport. I faced a situation when the flight which was supposed to take off from Dubai Airport was inordinately delayed due to a technical snag. Now, what happens in a technical snag is, it's a very scary situation because it's unpredictable which way it will go. The moment a flight is grounded, the engineers start doing their job. They have to find out where the problem is, what is the technical snag, whether they have the replacement, and how much time it will take to rectify the snag. Now, this is on the one side. On the other side, mind you, there's a flight to Dubai and the passengers have already been checked in. They have completed security and they're waiting in the concourse to board the flight. Now, the airline does not know when the flight is going to take off. Like they say, it's like the devil, between the devil and the deep sea. You can either cancel the flight or say it is definitely going within a short span of time. So they keep in touch with the engineers who are trying to rectify the aircraft. And once they get the green signal, the boarding will start. Now, in a similar situation, talking about this Dubai flight, the flight got delayed by about 6 to 7 hours in Dubai airport. And the passengers refused to get off. They refused to get off the aircraft. Now, that was late in the evening. And what they did was, now it's a digital age. From inside the aircraft, they started sending videos and messages to all the TV channels and the media. And then the media started calling, what happened? What is the situation and all? So as the airport manager, it was late evening, I was at home. So I immediately drove to the airport, went inside the aircraft, spoke to them. Each one had his own, her own story. Sir, we were there for so many hours. No information. We were not served good food. We were not served in a cup of tea. See, when in a situation like this, passengers get agitated. What they say, I won't say it is lies, but it is half-baked information. Because we have standard operating procedures. If a flight gets delayed beyond X number of hours, it's our duty to serve them the meal or snack depending upon the time of the day. So before going to the airport itself, I spoke to Dubai and found out what really happened there. So I knew for sure how the passengers are taken care of. I even knew what was the menu served. So with this information, I go to the aircraft, tried to pacify the situation, told them this is what happened, this is the information I have. Maybe you were not in the right place to hear and go and take your meal coupon and have your refreshments or dinner or whatever it is. So please try to understand, by sitting in the aircraft, no purpose is going to be served. You're doing it because it is Air India, because it's our airline. I feel happy that you are partly an owner of Air India, of this aircraft, and you have a right to protest, right to address your grievances to us. But let's be mature enough. Now you just come down. We will take care of you. If you want to go to your nearby places, you can even in transport and all that. And then I brought them out. And then the Times Now editor, a sub-editor, a deputy editor, it's a lady, she called me. So we got all these messages and we want a statement from you. What really happened? Any compensation, whatever it is. Then that was the time the merger was taking place, the merger between Air India and Indian Airlines. So the merger just started. So originally, when Air India was a separate entity, we were reporting to Bombay. Because Air India's headquarters was in Bombay. Now with the merger taking place, the reporting system changed and we have to report to Chennai. And all 4 regions of India, North, East, West and South, had separate executive directors. So my duty, because I report to the executive director now, I called him and said, sir, this is the situation. Times Now wanted to have an interview with me. Now the media has been fed with wrong information. I'd like to clarify. You'll be surprised. I'm not naming anybody. The senior person, the executive director, was so scared of this because media will try to fix you. I said, don't worry, sir, I'll handle the situation. I just want to gain signal from you. Okay, you look carefully, okay. I said, no problems, leave it to me. And I called that lady from Times Now. Yeah, you can come down. She came to my house to record an interview. She asked me, I believe the passengers got served anything, not even a glass of water. I showed her the messages, the conversation that I had, what was served, including the menu, and for the children, milk food, hot water, all these things. Because, madam, it's a routine procedure. Standard operating procedures are there, and we have done it. Obviously, I don't blame the passengers because sitting in the airport waiting for the aircraft to take off for 6 hours is something which is beyond their patience. So obviously they are agitated, but then this is the real scenario. Then she asked pointedly, what about compensation? They're asking for compensation. And they said, no, yes. Well, whatever compensation, it's not a matter to be decided on the spot. They are free to write to headquarters. I put it up to my headquarters. You can write to me, I'll send it to headquarters. Whatever headquarters decides, the decision will be taken. If they deserve, if the case demands a compensation, it will be done. But I cannot assure you now what will be the compensation and who are all going to get it. So she was convinced. And then, mind you, the executive director from Chennai, who was very wary of my giving the interview to the media, to the TV channel, called me the next day and said, Munaf, congratulations, you did a wonderful job. So this is what happens. The decision making is a very important thing. Imagine if I had shunned that interview, the public will not know what exactly happened. So the public will feel, oh, the national carrier is a no-good airline. They did not take care of the passenger. They did not even a glass of water. So this public relations exercise, a board exercise, is indispensable for a person working in a situation like position like airport manager. So there are many situations like this regarding the inordinate delays of flight. And a similar identical situation is cancellation of a flight. Cancellation of a flight. Now again, this is basically due to technical issues. Technical issues are beyond any human being's control. It can happen anytime. It can be a very minor thing or a major thing. Now, for the information of our students, for their knowledge, to enrich their knowledge, technical issues may be a major issue or the so-called minor issue. If it's a minor issue, the aircraft engineer will inspect it and he has got the authority to release if it is not a major technical issue, so that he will inform the next station the aircraft that is coming with this minor snag, you fix it up there. It's called MEL. It's termed under MEL. MEL stands for Minimum Equipment List. If the technical snag comes under MEL, legally, the engineer can allow the aircraft to fly, taking sufficient precaution to inform the next station to fix the minor snag there so that the aircraft becomes 100% okay. This is a very important point which the students may not be aware. As a person who's worked in the airport, I'm informing them. I have seen so many aircrafts, especially while working in Bahrain and Doha, hardly 45 minutes flight between Bahrain and Doha. Flight which comes from Bahrain will go to Doha and then go back to India. So whatever technical snag, a minimum technical snag that happens or that is noticed in Bahrain airport, our engineer will inform Doha, so I'm sending this flight with this, whatever the technical word for the snag, etc. And there's a good understanding between the airline. Even if Air India does not have that particular replacement, we have an understanding with the national airline. The Qatar Airways will lend that aircraft because they have a similar aircraft. Similar aircraft they will definitely have. They will lend it, and later on, Air India will get it from the headquarters in Bombay and replace it. So the coordination is also an important point amongst airlines so that smooth functioning of flight handling takes place globally. Now, flight cancellation, there is another aspect. When a flight gets delayed or cancelled, or especially the delay from crew point of view. When I say crew, it is commander, co-pilot, and the cabin crew, air hostess and the in-flight person. This is the crew. The term crew refers to this, as you know, most of you know it. The crew has what is known as FDTL. Have you heard of this? Some of you may be aware of this. FDTL. FDTL stands for DTL, Flight Duty Time Limitation. What is it exactly? Now, all operations in India are overseen and controlled and supervised by DGCA, Director General of Civil Aviation. Now, anything that happened, they call it incident. Supposing the control tower informed the DGCA there was an incident of two airlines coming close proximity, almost a clash. It will be reported to the DGCA. DGCA will ask for a report, ask for an explanation, and then based on the result of the inquiry, whatever punishment they deem fit, they'll give to the airline and the particular pilot. Maybe he'll be debarred from flying for X number of days, or the license may be cancelled, or he may be denied flying for a longer duration if the fault is serious. So all these regulations are there. Inbuilt regulations ensure the safety of a flight. Now the FDTL has another aspect. Normally, a crew is permitted to work for 12 hours continuously. Mind you, the 12 hours does not start from the time the flight takes off, not even from the time they board the aircraft. The 12 hours time starts from the time they leave the airport. For example, in a city like Cochin, the airport is far away, about 35 kilometers away. And the crew, which is staying in Leh Meridian, for them to reach the airport itself will take 1 hour. So that 1 hour is also added in FDTL to take care of the 12 hours. So from that 1 hour, when they reach the airport, if the aircraft is grounded due to technical snag, if the work is going on, that many hours will be added to the working of the crew. And finally, when the aircraft is ready for departure, how much time it will take to reach the destination? That will also be added to fit in within the 12 hours. But the plus point is the 12 hours at the discretion of the crew and the airline can be extended by 2 more hours. 14 hours the maximum. Beyond that, the crew does not have the authority to extend. Why? Reasons are obvious. You're talking about an aircraft flying 45,000 meters above ground level, where the life of the aircraft is, the life of the passengers is in the hands of the crew. The pilot and not the crew. Now imagine somebody working non-stop for 12 to 14 hours. What would be his mental status? What would be his mental condition? If there is an emergency, if there's an alert, we should do filter to the aircraft. Can you hear me now? Balaji, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You can continue, sir.
Okay, I'll continue. So this FDTL is a very important factor in airline functioning. And as airport manager, whenever a flight is grounded, his heartbeat goes up. Take into consideration whether the flight will take off, whether the FTL problem will arise, or if it is grounded, what needs to be done. Well, in a situation like this, if the flight is grounded, what does the airline do? Obviously, I mentioned to you about the standard operating procedures, as according to which, if the flight is grounded, and that too is an international flight, the airline is bound to accommodate the passengers in the hotels nearby until the next departure. So which all the airlines do, and in some cases where some of the passengers who have visa expiry cases, especially Kerala is connected most to the Gulf countries. A country like Saudi Arabia, I don't know whether you are aware, a person who's working in Saudi Arabia, if he wants to come on a holiday to India, he has to take what is known as an exit and re-entry permit. He may already have a residence permit, but then using that residence permit, he cannot come to India on his own and go back. He has to take a separate exit and re-entry permit which has a validity. Countries like Saudi Arabia have this stipulation. Now, if it is a flight going to Saudi Arabia, the problems get multiplied. We have to check up if there are any such cases whose re-entry permit will be expiring in the next 24 hours or so, and single them out. Of course, they themselves will come and show you a visa. In that case, you have to look for an alternative rather than accommodating them in the airport and taking a chance of his getting entry into Saudi Arabia. So in that case, what does the airline do? The airline will not hesitate to endorse a ticket to any other carrier. Supposing there's a flight, the Qatar Airways flight, going to Doha with immediate connection. All Gulf carriers are beautifully connected from their base. Oman, for example, Muscat is connected to all the Gulf stations. Qatar is connected to all the Gulf ones. So, thanks to Kerala being connected profusely by the Gulf carriers, you immediately endorse a ticket to the carrier which has an immediate flight within a few hours, so that the passenger does not suffer. Now, from the airline's economics point of view, the ticket can be endorsed so that airline does not want the passenger to suffer. But then when it comes to the money, that particular airline on whose name the ticket has been endorsed will collect the full fare from the airline, from the endorsing airline, which will be a huge amount. Because airline tickets are sold at a discount globally. It's a fait accompli, it's a proven fact. But then when any airline endorses a ticket to another airline, based on what's known as interline agreement, that airline will ask for a full pound of flesh, the full normal fare. That's how the airline comes. And similarly, when we help other carriers by offering the seats, if their flight gets grounded, we will get the full fare from the airlines. So these are all facts which, as students, you may not know, but I'm just giving you a glimpse of some inside information also. Now, flight cancellation, we have covered, inordinate delays, offloading, how it is handled. Now, talking about offloading, I must share with you my experience I had in Saudi Arabia. I was posted in Saudi Arabia twice. Once, as soon as I joined Air India, within a few years, on a Hajj posting, and subsequently in a senior position as a special officer on duty in Hajj terminal. Now, Hajj terminal is something which most of you will not be aware. It is something to be seen, to be believed. A huge terminal. Mind you, Hajj is a massive event in Saudi Arabia. Hajj pilgrimage, all of you are aware of. During Hajj, almost all the airlines in the world, from all the countries, will bring passengers to Jeddah. So Jeddah airport has a separate Hajj terminal, huge one. Working there is mind-blowing. I was blown off when I saw that, the huge, from outside it looks like tent-like. But then when you go inside, it is massive infrastructure, the number of toilets, every 5 minutes, every toilet getting clean, flushed, washed, with sanitizer, soap, whatnot. And each airline of a country will be given a separate, inside the terminal itself, a separate building will be there, like an office space with a counter allotted for each airline. And that particular airline has the country's national flag next to the office so that passengers can easily identify the national flag and come to the particular airline. This happens in the case of every country, every airline. Now, I must share with you my experiences. It's quite interesting. Mind you, I went there when I was almost a fresher. A few years after joining Air India, I went to Jeddah to handle the Hajj flights. There's phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is incoming, handling of incoming passengers. Phase 2 is after the Hajj is over, when the passengers go back to their countries. That is phase 2, going back to the country. So I was posted for phase 2. So I went there. Like me, there were other Air India employees, staff from other stations in India, from Bombay, from Delhi, from Calcutta, from Chennai, from Kerala. I was the only one. So we were all there. And mind you, the youngest was me, because within a few years after joining, I was in. And there was one gentleman, very old, he must be 55, 56 years old. And he was also an Indian national of Yemeni Consulate General. He can issue Yemeni visas to Indians going to Yemen. Such a senior person. He was also there, rubbing shoulders with me and working there. When I observed what was happening there, the Hajj handling there is jointly done by the national carrier, Air India, and the Indian Embassy in Jeddah, in Indian Embassy. Now, I watched it for a few days. I noticed that there was too much of interference. Too much of interference from the Indian Embassy. Because as an airline, when there's a particular flight on a particular day, we have the manifest, but then the Indian Embassy will come with a list. So these passengers have to go. I said, all jumbo aircraft, 300 plus seats, all economy version. I said, capacity is 342 seats, 342 passengers are there. You are bringing 35 seats. How will you accommodate? No, sir. The embassy may pressure here. Obviously, in situation like this, there will be pressure from India, from a lot of quarters, from ministers and so many other things. I don't want to dwell on that. But then, the situation is this. As an airline, what will you do? are you justified in offloading genuine passengers who are booked on a particular flight to accommodate and interpolate the list of passengers brought by the Indian Embassy? This was going on. Nobody had the guts to stop this. It's unethical, isn't it? And that was the time. It's quite interesting. I don't know how many of you remember. Most of you are very young. I'm talking about early 80s. The Asian game was happening, going to happen in Delhi. It's a massive, humongous event. And color TV was being introduced in India for the first time. So every Haji who came for Hajj, Jeddah, Makkah, Medina, wants to carry a color TV set. So a color TV set, CRT set, not the present LCD or LED. So that also will be heavy. So the airline, what does it do? They have their own baggage, they have their TV, and they have the Zamzam water, everything. Obviously, excess baggage will be involved. Now it's a ticket. The baggage weight may be well beyond 60 kilos or 60 to 70 kilos. Whereas a permitted baggage, normally 20, sometimes 30, for Hajj pilgrims, and increased baggage allowance is given of 45 kilos. Now 45, where is 45 and where is 70? So legally speaking, the passenger has to pay excess baggage charges for the balance amount, 20 or 25 kilos, which is a huge amount. Because Jeddah to Bombay or Cochin, per kilo the rate used to be 445 rupees per kg at that time. You can imagine how much it will be. So Hajis will come crying, I cannot pay, I am this, I am that. And top of it, pressure from the embassy, he so-and-so, referred to the so-and-so by the ambassador or the first secretary. All those things. So it is basically a tightrope walk. You have to handle. You cannot entirely antagonize the embassy or be very nice to them and put the safety of the aircraft in danger. Because when you check in a passenger with 70 kilos, if you show 70 kilos, you have to charge excess baggage. If you want to weigh excess baggage, you only show 45 kilos, which means the aircraft is added another 25 to 30 kilos illegally. Imagine all the 340 passengers having 10, 20, 25 kilos like this. What will happen to the aircraft? The center of gravity will go for a 6, sir. The payload will be much more than what it can hold. It's a very dangerous situation. So I noticed all these things. God was great, everything went off well. But I thought nobody was taking action. The senior people were there. I was junior most. I decided I'll put an end to this. And I said, today whatever happens, I'll close my eyes. Tomorrow onwards, lists like this will not be accepted, even from Indian Embassy. What you can do is, from the manifest, you replace there itself with the consent of the passengers. If you want to add 25 passengers in a particular day's flight, remove 25 passengers there itself, so that these passengers who are replaced should not come to the airport, and it will be very unfair for us to deny boarding to them. That I implemented forcefully. I put my foot down, even though I was the junior most. And things started improving. And when these things were happening, I went to have a cup of tea in one of the stalls there nearby. And there was an Indian Embassy staff sitting there. Why I'm telling you this is always interesting. No? What happens in a workplace? When you show initiative, it's rightly taken. So when I was having tea, one of the Indian Embassy staff was also having tea. He came next to me. Sir, you are Mr. Manaf. where are you from, and this and that. And finally he asked me, sir, I think you're from intelligence. I burst out. The manner in which I tackled the situation, put my foot down and said, what is legal, what is ethical, you do. Unethical, I will not permit. He thought the Indian government has granted an intelligence officer to oversee all these things. I laughed and said, no, I'm not from the intelligence or any such officer from RAW or anything like that. I'm an Air Indian only. But I saw what was happening was not fair. So I streamlined the procedures, which is good for everybody. Now you are safe, we are safe, airline is safe, aircraft is safe, and the RG's lights are also safe. He accepted that. He said he was very appreciative of that. So all these things happen. The only thing is, you should be bold enough. Be truthful and sincere. Don't cow down to pressure. You have the courage, you should have the courage of conviction. You cannot put the lives of the passengers in danger. Never. So that I believe, when I think about it, I still feel happy about it. So such situations do happen in the case of offloading or denied boarding or handling of passengers and things like that. Another situation I would like to mention to you is crash, air crash. Now that is one situation, one emergency, which should not happen with God's grace to any airline. But then, it does happen occasionally. I must also tell our students, how safe is flying? Always, we tend to think flying is risky. No, even I feel so. But then the truth is, flying is the safest mode of travel. The facts and figures prove that. Do you know, as a passenger, if you have to be involved in a fatal air crash, the chances are 1 in a, any guesses? Million. 1 in a million. You have to be that much unlucky to be involved in a fatal air crash. 1 in a million chances. So that is why flying is the safest mode of transport compared to surface transport by car, by bus, by two-wheeler, whatever, by sea, other modes of transport. Flying is the safest mode of transport. Now, I covered offloading, delays, flight. Another thing is flight diversion. It's an interesting thing. Why do flights get diverted? You know, sir? Diversion of flights. When I was working as airport manager in Bahrain, I mentioned to you a little while ago. There the working system is the flights used to be in the evening, late evening. You will spend time in the city office daytime, go to the airport in the night, attend to the flights, take off, after the takeoff, go back home. See around 10:30 in the night. So once a day, after handling the flight, it was a Bahrain random flight, I remember. I went back home, had dinner with my family, and I was sleeping. 2:30, should I say night, early morning, I get a call from Bahrain airport. We don't have a flight at that time. But then the caller, he is working on night duty. So he happily called me out. Mr. Manav, how are you? Come down, come down. Happily he is announcing. I said, what happened, brother? No, the flight from Doha is diverted to Bahrain. It's landing within 20 minutes. Due to bad weather. Due to bad weather. Bad weather is the main reason for diverting of it. Happens in India also. Very often flight which is supposed to land in Calicut lands in Cochin. Out of the flight is weather is clear. So same thing happened in Doha. So I just immediately rushed to the airport. I had a car about half an hour, 20-25 minutes. It was early morning, 2:30, 3 o'clock. So the traffic was not there. I could reach before the flight landed. So I landed there. The aircraft was there, which was supposed to go to Doha, which was landed in Bahrain. I went inside the aircraft to find out what is happening. And the pilot was in touch with the Doha ATC to find out how the weather condition is there. These are all natural calamities, so to say. One cannot say how soon it will clear. It can take half an hour, it can take 40 minutes, it may take hours together also. My only worry was, like I mentioned to you, FDTL. If FDTL problem comes in, if the flight is grounded, all the passengers who are supposed to go to some other country, we have to bring them down, make special arrangements with the immigration authorities in Bahrain. Mind you, they will not have any Bahrain visa. So special dispensation has to be taken and accommodation has to be arranged in the airport, hotel or lounge, food for them and the crew, and then a fresh set of crew has to be brought. All these complications are there. So my only worry was that. So all these things were going on in my mind. So I was in the cockpit listening to what the commander, the information that the commander was getting from the ATC in Doha, Qatar. And fortunately for me, after about 1.5 hours, they were cleared in Doha airport. They gave the green signal, and immediately, fortunately, the passengers were on board because whatever was available on board, juices and snacks were served. And ready for departure, I came out of the aircraft, door was shut, took off. I did my prayers to Almighty, thank for the aircraft, making the aircraft fly back again to Doha, Qatar, and it ended. So heaving a sigh of relief, I came out, thanked the BAS people. BAS stands for Bahrain Airport Services, BAS. They're very cooperative, professional, thorough professionals. So I thank them for their cooperation also. We had a wonderful rapport with them, good relationship. Took my car, went back home. I was about to hit the bed. And then the call comes. Mind you, 2:30 I got a call, 3 o'clock I went there, 4:30 the flight took off. I reached home at 5 o'clock. Within 15 minutes, when I was about to go to sleep again, another call. Munaf, you reached home? Yeah, I reached home, thank you. You have to come again, my dear. I said, what happened? The Iran flight is diverted now. Oh my God. The flight which was supposed to be landing in Iran, Saudi Arabia, was also diverted due to the same reason. Bad weather. So that flight got diverted, flight will be landing in half an hour, again dress up, rush to the airport, be ready there, position yourself there, aircraft land, go inside, classify the passengers, say sorry, it's something beyond our control. Hopefully the weather will clear, you'll go back to your destination, which is Dhahran in Saudi Arabia. And fortunately, within about 45 minutes, the weather cleared in Saudi Arabia and the flight took off and went. Again, second time, I was feeling closer to God, said my prayer, thanked him profusely for helping me twice, and went back home and went to sleep. Got up late and went to office the next day, a little late, obviously, because of all this exigency. So working at the airport is very interesting, very, very interesting. You will come across situations which will challenge your capacity, mentally also, your decision-making powers. Any wrong decision, finished. You land yourself in soup. I've seen, while handling such situations, sometimes people get very scared. I'll narrate to you another incident where I was virtually garoused Do you remember the floods in Bombay some years ago? More than a decade ago? The floods in, no, more than that. Maybe 15, 16 years ago. I was in Cochin airport. I was on duty. We had checked in the passengers. It was a domestic flight right to Bombay, and some passengers had connections to other Gulf destinations, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Doha, from Bombay. So our flight was supposed to come at a particular time, maybe 2 o'clock or so in the afternoon, and take off by 3. So passengers who came, we checked in, they report 2 hours, 2.5 hours before departure. So they came around lunchtime. The check-in was done. They cleared security. They were in the concourse for boarding. And then there was heavy rain in Bombay. Bombay has never experienced such floods in the history of Bombay. Such a bad situation. If you Google, you'll know. Bombay has got. Everything got inundated. Aircraft got runways everywhere. Almost all. The airport was actually closed for many hours. So in a situation like that, this flight was coming from Bombay and going back to Bombay. And then that is the routing of the aircraft. So the passengers were asking our duty managers what happened when the flight is coming. He said, there is a TV also inside the security hold. They showed, sir, see the airport is closed, no aircraft is coming. We are waiting for the clearance. Once ATC clears the airport for departure, then the aircraft will take off. Until then, you have to be here. So we as a routine procedure, we serve them snacks initially. Because it was lunchtime that they checked in, we get them lunch. And then some hours later, because it was a creeping delay, use this term, creeping delay, engineering delays and all. So we give them some snacks, tea, coffee and all that from the airport restaurant for all these passengers. And still there is no sign of clearance from Bombay airport. And then the passengers got really agitated. They were initially restless, got agitated, and they became aggressive. They started banging on the window panes of airport building. I had 3 duty managers. I was the airport manager, and then I actually have 7 duty managers. 3 on duty at that time. Whenever the duty manager said, they got fed up and said, we don't want any one of you. Nobody should come. They put up a barricade, benches and all that near the entrance and exit, not allowing anybody to enter the security hall. It was a very explosive and volatile situation. What will the airport manager do? Will he be sitting in his air-conditioned cabin, waiting for news from Bombay, for the floods to recede and the flight to take off? And will the passengers continue their aggressive activities? No. This is where the airport manager's caliber comes to play. One should be bold enough, should have the courage of conviction that he is doing the right thing. My duty manager is shivering, sir, if I go there, they'll bash me up. I said, no, I don't want any of you to come. I will handle the situation. I went inside. I told the airport security to clear the barricade, remove the benches and all that, just blow, sir. I want you to give a very clear picture of what is happening. I will not tell you any lies. The realistic picture so that you will understand and appreciate. Bombay is experiencing floods never seen in the history of Bombay. So the airport is closed. No flight is taking off. No flight is landing. The runways are flooded. Cities are reeling under the floods. Just keep water everywhere. And what can we do? We have checked it in. We are just waiting for some good news to come. If the rain stops and then the water recedes, there is a possibility that ATC will clear for takeoff. That is the only hope that we have, for which I am waiting for the message. They were not convinced. Obviously, they're exasperated, sitting for 5 hours, 6 hours for a flight to go to Bombay, for a 2-hour flight. They're already in the security hold 5 to 6 hours. It was a situation like this. Then they said, no, sir, we want you to be here. Whatever happens, you'll be here and tell us. And from there, I contacted Bombay Control Cell. Control Cell, it's a nerve center. Whatever happens, exigencies, the control cell will have the latest information. So I called Air India Control Cell in front of them from our mobile. What is the status now? They said, no, it is still, airport is closed. Airport is closed, no landing, no takeoff. Precisely at that moment, you know what happened? The TV showed a news. Flight Indigo Airline takes off from Mumbai airport. I said, how can it happen? I'm just getting live news, live information. The airport is still closed. And how can Indigo Aircraft take? Something is wrong. Then again I called Control Cell. Look, this is the situation. I told them this is situation, and they are convinced. And suddenly there's a display saying that your flight. Then what are you talking about? I yelled at him. He said, Mr. Manav, airport manager, जी, बैठिए, आराम से बैठिए. ऐसे हो ही नहीं सकता. मैं कहता हूँ आपको, अभी तक बंद है. कैसे टेक ऑफ होगा फ्लाइट? The authority said the airport is still closed. Then I knew where the problem was. Then I called from there in front of the passengers. I called the airline office, Indigo Airline. Look, this particular TV channel just now, a few minutes ago, said your flight so and so has taken off. Can you confirm to me? They'll have the latest information. You're on the same boat? He says, where takeoff, sir? अभी तक बैठा है मुंबई में. Then I told him, look, it is the wrong information. They immediately call the TV channel. Don't create confusion. Airport, I'm so and so. I know for sure. Until 2 minutes ago, the airport was closed. It is still closed. Why are you showing this and confusing the public? Take it off immediately. And they removed it and they gave a corrigendum also. So this is what happened. But then see, imagine if I'm not facing the passengers and taking all this action, what impression the passengers and the public will have about an airline. You should have the courage of conviction to see this mob, tackle decision making, convince them, but be truthful. Don't go there telling lies. If you are telling lies, the passengers will easily understand. You cannot escape. It will lead to a very serious situation. So I had the courage of conviction. I proved to them what I'm doing is truthful. And they said, okay, what are the situations, sir? We will not let you go now. You have to sit with us until the flight takes off. I said, no problem. No problem. I will sit with you. If the flight is taking off, if Bombay airport becomes operational, I will be there. You will let your flight come. Until you board the aircraft, I will give you company. Then I called the duty managers. Slowly they stepped in. I said, look, there are families sitting there. There are children there. Babies there. Provide some hot water, milk, or whatever is available from the restaurant to them. And another round of snacks. Because the flight is still not taking off. Even the flight is taking off, it's going to take another 2 hours. So another round of snack to the passengers. Airport or restaurant also rose to the occasion. They are geared to such situation. So they immediately made some, what are these things, I think, tea, coffee, and juices and served to the passengers. So I was just sitting there, constantly keeping in touch with control cell in Bombay. And fortunately for me, after about 45 minutes. The rains receded. Immediately the water level went down. The runway was cleared. The airport was cleared. And immediately I got a confirmation from there. Flight was taken off. And I told the passengers, look, patience and perseverance pays. You were patient enough to wait here for so many hours. I gave you company. God was kind. He has answered all your prayers and my prayers. Flight was taken off from Bombay. It will be landing in another 1 hour, 40 minutes. You know what they said? Oh, is that so, sir? Very good, sir. Very good. But then you still be with us, sir? I said, no problem. I will still be with you. I told you, I gave you my assurance, I will be with you until you board the aircraft. I will not board the aircraft with you, but I will be with you. Then I waited there. I had another cup of coffee from there, hot cup to refresh myself from the mental stress. And flight landed, and security from the security, they walked to the aircraft. I also, and you know, the moment the flight landed, what they did? Everybody clapped. Entire plane load of passengers, because they have seen somebody who was truthfully portrayed the situation to tide over the problem faced by the airline. They really appreciated it. And almost everybody before going came and shook hands with me. Well, sir, thank you, sir. Malaro Bugar, sir. So everybody was thankful to you. This is how crisis situation are to be handled. When most of you, when you attain a level of seniority, thanks to your degrees, aviation, airport handling, courses, diplomas, and all that, when you get to an airline or an airport, after some years, immediately, of course, you cannot become an airport manager. Even at a lower level, you can. So you can have a customer service attitude, mentality, and help your boss to tide over the situation. Be very supportive of them. And once you reach that level as duty manager or airport manager, you will be able to function on the line that I narrated to you based on my personal experience. Many situations. So many situations. Once a flight came from Jeddah, supposed to go to Calicut. It landed in Cochin, dead of night. So I got a message, I went inside. The passengers were refusing to get out. Bad weather, pouring in Calicut, and Calicut airport is a tabletop airport. You know what a tabletop airport is. A pilot will not take a chance in heavy rainstorms. He will not take a chance. He will diverted the flight to come to Cochin. And these guys say, you will not get off. What the hell, yeah? I mean, you can't get them, become angry. You had to convince them. So again, I went inside the aircraft, my dear friends, be raised and the life of the crew. Can I do that? No, no airline will do it. So that is why the flight got diverted. I will give you. Now the problem has come. Let's address the issue. Find a solution. Find a solution. Now you are supposed to land in Calicut, you land here. If the flight is grounded due to a detailed order, there are two options available. Those of you who are in a hurry to reach Calicut, I'll arrange transport taxi. We will accommodate 2 passengers in 1 taxi with the baggage, and those who are staying close by, both of you can go together. That's one option. Whoever wants to go, leave tonight itself, tell me, I'll arrange transport at airline's cost. Number 2, we will provide accommodation to all of you. There are so many good hotels nearby. We'll make you comfortable. Won't take rest. In the morning, things will become okay. The bad weather will not continue for hours together. In the morning, we will send you by the same aircraft. After all, it is 20 minutes flight from here to Canada. So the options. So some of them said they will take a taxi and go. Those who are very eager to see their families, obviously. And many of them opted to stay in the hotel. So next morning, after breakfast, early morning breakfast, the flight was ready, new set of crew. Whitwell to Calicut. So airport is a very dynamic place to work, and you come across so many situations, challenging situations. All that you need courage. You need to be focused to handle these situations. So incidents like this are very many, especially because I worked in different airports, Cochin, Trivandrum, Bari, and Jeddah also, as I said, during Hajj. And Hajj was a very great experience for me. It's massive infrastructure there for all the airlines under the sun in one enclosure, allotting separate offices for every airline of every nationality. Something really mind-boggling. It has to be seen to be believed. That's an experience I can never forget. So I think when I was introduced, the lady said, I give speeches on many topics. I'm a motivation speaker also. And all of you are young. After 1 or 2 years, you're on the threshold of taking up a career in the aviation field. So I would just like to touch upon a few attributes which I think are important to become a thorough professional and have a good career and to excel in career. Excellent career. How to achieve excellence? Excellence. You know, Aristotle said, excellence is doing ordinary things, extraordinary to make it the best. You achieve excellence. That is what you should be doing in what. And the most, see, if we start thinking as a human being, if we want to achieve 100% in life, on career, what is that single thing that you need? I'll repeat. The single attribute that you need achieve 100% in life. Various answers were given. What is the answer? Some said knowledge. Some said hard work. Some said sincerity. Some said money. Is very practical thing. So like that, various things. Now, an analogy was made. It's not A to Z, 1 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C. Values were given for each thing. Hard work. What are the values? H is 1 more. A is 1. Like that, the values get and total down. It's quite interesting. Hard work, it worked out to some 45, 46. Knowledge, total came to 76. Like numerology, assigning values to each letter and adding up. Love, 42 something. So what is that one thing which sums up to 100%? My dear friends, I was glad then in Dr. Krishna Kumar says, he repeated thrice the word attitude, positive attitude. That is the magical word I'm referring to. You will be surprised if you assign values to the attitude. Like A, what are A? What are the values of T like that? 1 to 26. And total up, it adds up to a beautiful 100. Not as a coincidence. But then I think we should learn the word adds up to it. It implies that if you have a good attitude, a positive attitude, you achieve 100% will take you places. So attitude is what one should possess to succeed in life, career, or whatever. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible. You are
Okay,
audible. You
Yes,
can
sir.
keep
It's audible.
Attitude is one. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So attitude is one thing that all of us should have, a positive mental attitude. A Chinese philosopher who is held in awe, Confucius, he said, the will to win, the desire to succeed, and the urge to reach your full potential are the keys to unlock the doors to personal excellence. Beautiful words. Chimps. The will to win, the desire to succeed, and the urge to reach your full potential are the keys to unlock the doors to personal excellence, like Confucius. All these things one will have if he has the right attitude. Right attitude. In whatever you do, be focused. I will give a small example.
I think Mr. Rabba, I think
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
he
No,
went
he's
off.
back. He's back.
He's back. He's back. Okay, right.
Yes.
So one has to be really focused. I'll give you a beautiful example for this too. All of us know the Alexander the Great. He is referred to as Alexander the Great because he was one of the greatest warriors who won almost all the battles that he fought from Rome, a Roman warrior, Roman emperor, Alexander the Great. Once people came to him and said, "Sir, there is this precious horse. Nobody is able to tame it. Nobody is able to mount it, tame it." So Alexander looked at the horse. He said, "Okay, leave it to me." Then after 2 minutes, in a jiffy, he mounted the horse. It's not a magic. He was being focused. Alexander the Great just observed the horse in a focused manner, its behavior. He understood the horse was scared of its own shadow. The horse was scared of its own shadow. So all that he did was to slowly turn around the horse so that the sun was behind and the horse would not be able to see any shadow of its own. And in no time he mounted. So this is what is being focused. Another classic example I think most of you will know is what NASA did. This is because sometimes, we concentrate more on the problem, not on the solution. Another trait that is very important, third trait is, you should concentrate when you face a problem. When you face a problem, you should concentrate on finding a solution. Don't over-concentrate on the problem itself. What happened was, like I said, most of you may be aware, NASA, when their astronauts were going up in space, they encountered a problem because the ink was not flowing. Many miles above the Earth, obviously, the gravitational pull will not be there. Nothing more. That is why we see the astronauts floating inside the spacecraft. Obviously, the pen also will not work, the ink will not flow. So the American mind, it's based on research. They spend millions of dollars, research and found out a liquid which will not dry at any temperature, under any circumstances, anywhere. So they came up with a solution after concentrating, after doing a whole lot of research and are spending a major chunk of dollars. So finally they found a solution, an ink that doesn't dry up at all. What did Russia do? They used a pencil. They used a pencil because they were not focusing on the problem, they were focusing on the solution. How can we circumvent this situation? So obviously, the pencil does not have an ink. There's nothing to dry, so they used a pencil. Simple. So like that, in real life situations also, we sometimes take a circuitous view in our reach. So that is another aspect that I would like to touch upon. And of course, you have to be very sincere and truthful in whatever you're doing. Being sincere and truthful is a very, very big trait. It's a boon. That is how, in crisis management, I could score over because whatever I did truthfully and sincerely. Like I want, you don't hold water. Because today's customers are smarter than you, thanks to the technology age. Be truthful and sincere. You will win our situation. Another important trait. One should be creative and innovative. All of us have it. Maybe the degree may vary. One should be creative and innovative. What does? Creative of that policy and unusual. Is the top thing unique or unusual. Innovation, implementation, something. I could have for my own life and carry. About this. So as a sales manager, whenever a new travel agent had an applicant,
Is there any problem?
Sorry, technical snag. I think the internet connection is giving a little bit of problem, interruption. Are we on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you hear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's audible.
I'll go ahead.
Yes, sir.
I'll
We
go
are
ahead.
here.
Yes, sir. It's audible.
Thank you.
Okay, fine. So coming back to the salesman who's appointed as the IATA investigator for approving the IATA applicants for getting IATA recognition for the travel agencies. The two people who walked in, they said, sir, we wanted to get IATA recognition, for which we have all the requirements. We have a nice office as per requirement to see this. So it's quite interesting. You'll be amused. I thought for a minute, not a minute, for a few seconds, those who have come are Sattar and George. The two people who came. Can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can hear. We can.
Yeah. The two people who come to see me. Yeah. The two people who came. Yeah. The two people who came to see me were George and Sattar. And I told them, well, I found a name. Name it as GeoSat Travels and Tours. GeoSat. GEO from George, SAT from Sattar. GeoSat. Now this is an apt name because GeoSat is something which is in the space. What is aviation? An aircraft flies. Destinations are met. Geosphere. Everything that is related to astronomy or spacecraft. So GeoSat was the apt name. They immediately grabbed it and they named it. And ironically, I did the inspection also, and they got IATA recognition. So why I'm trying to say this is, I feel very happy because it was sudden flash. Everybody has this little bit of creativity in him. Whether he has the mind to use it is the $1 million question. We all have it in us. Otherwise, how will it, so like that, I think all of us should have what is known as a little bit of creativity and innovation. Reverse thinking is another thing. Some great people used to have what is known as reverse thinking. You all know Muhammad Ali. Cassius Clay converted to Islam and known as the greatest boxer, Muhammad Ali. He was plump. He was fat. People said fat people cannot do boxing. Then his style was different. While fighting in boxing, you should always keep your hands up. Muhammad Ali had what is known as reverse thinking. He always used to have his hands down. So his punches are from below, punch from top, but the hands are up. So he had this reverse thing, reverse thinking, which really made him become the greatest boxer, and he remained world boxing champion for a long period of time, thanks to his reverse thinking. So I think there are so many things that that are important for you to possess, and I just mentioned to you, I just combined it with 2 tips of how to come up or how to achieve excellence in life. That's why I added these traits also in my presentation. I really enjoyed giving this presentation. Hope you also must have enjoyed this. And if there are any question and answer sessions, you're free to throw your questions. Thank you. Question and answer session begins now.
Thank you.
Question and answer session.
Thank The forum is now open for discussion. Any participant with questions or clarifications may feel free to interact with our chief guest.
Self-improvement aspects also. That is why I added the traits that will make a person a thorough professional or will help you in achieve excellence in your career. I enjoyed presenting the session. Thank you very much. And the floor is open for your questions. Please do ask me. Whatever.
Sir?
Yes. Please identify yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Sir, in this 30 years of experience, which was your most happiest moment of solving a problem? After solving a problem, which was the most happiest moment?
Happiest moment of resolving a crisis. Well, I think I should mention to you that particular incident where I was garroted for hours and sent back the passengers who complimented me, clapping me for the good work I did, and shaking hands while boarding the flight. That was one of my happiest moments. Thank you. I won't forget that. I really feel proud, you know, the way in which it went off. And God is also kind to me, no doubt. But I think, like they say, with the German clockwork precision, the situation was handled.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I was mentioning to all of you about creativity and innovation, and I just want to mention. I think Mr. Balaji, Dr. Balaji mentioned in his when he was listening to me, I would have come across so many important people at the airport, working in the airport. It is 100% true. But you won't believe, during my tenure at the airport, I have met, chit-chatted, shaken hands with world dignitaries. And one of them is Miss Natalie Glebova, Miss Universe from Colombia in 1996. When she came to Cochin for a function, I received her with a bouquet and chit-chatted in the airport arrival hall. I have some pictures of her. Then I saw Fiji president before boarding. Dr. Manmohan Singh, when he boarded, I shook hands with him. And Mr. L.K. Advani, when he was Deputy Prime Minister in Bahrain Airport, I had interacted with him when he came to Bahrain, along with the Civilization Minister of Bahrain. And of course, Civilization Ministers, I have interacted with so many of them. DGCA, Director General of Civilization. I have some very interesting moments. I won't be able to narrate all those, maybe some other day. The achievement that I could get for Trivandrum Airport, thanks to my initiative with the DGCA. All those things are so many. And in Bahrain, there's something very interesting. I forgot to mention to you. When I was a manager of Bahrain, country manager of Air India, can I continue, Balaji? Another 10 minutes?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Can I continue?
You can.
Sure.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
What is the lunch break now for the students? I believe it's 12:45, isn't it, ma'am?
12:45 almost.
It's almost 12:45.
Okay, then any questions you can ask me. Any questions from the students I'd like to hear? And remember, I was in the interview panel for Air India in 10 interview panels. If you want anything to know about the interview questions.
Sir, I'm Professor Muthuswamy, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
Professor Muthuswamy,
Please.
can I ask you one question?
Yes,
Now,
please.
due to the pandemic, sir, many airlines are grounded. Some airports are not operating.
Yes.
So the students who pursue these courses, aviation courses, IATA certificate courses, and BSc and MBA aviation studies are afraid of losing their job opportunities. So, what is your advice for them to seek alternative jobs opportunities, sir?
No. Please, Dr. Muthuswamy.
Yes, sir.
Don't you ever think of alternative. No. A big no. Because the world cannot survive without civilization and tourism. But the world cannot survive. So in transport, the fastest mode is air travel.
Yeah.
Can you imagine in this digital era, we living without flights? Impossible. Even when the COVID situation was at the peak, mind you, air bubbles are there. Flights are still going. International and not domestic. So what does it do? Human being cannot survive globally without this fastest mode of transport, which is air travel. I do understand, I do appreciate. I think in my opening remarks, I even said, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Don't be dismayed because of the present scenario of COVID-19, putting the brakes on normal flight operations and tourism operations. No, definitely not. I'm 100% sure it is not a catastrophe. The world is not going to die. As long as the world survives, air travel will survive, tourism will survive, because the travel bug has bitten every human being. That is why you saw so many people traveling. Compared to 10 years ago, the numbers are skyrocketed. It's gone upwards. People are just waiting for the situation. I'll give a very small example. 2 months ago, I'll quickly tell you, in Kerala, in Munnar, it's a hill station. During pandemic situation, the Kerala State Road Transport Corporation, they had some old bus station there. They converted that into a dormitory type accommodation with beds and rented it out to as an experimental basis to the tourists coming to Munnar. In no time, all the seats got sold out. And now they are positioned 4 such buses. They started with 4 buses. Mind you, this is happening when COVID is on. When the second, I'm talking about what happened before the second surge. The COVID was still there. So tourism will not die, travel and tourism will survive. Human being cannot survive without travel and tourism. So there is no question of suggesting alternative job. Our students, aviation students, will be working in the aviation field, no doubt about it. I'll give you a small tip. My YouTube channel is there, in which there are about 1 dozen videos, and some of which are giving the numbers, the data, where the job opportunity is going to arise in India and globally also. Of course, all these data, the numbers, correspond to pre-COVID levels. Once the situation becomes normal, those data, those figures will become relevant. So I'm telling you, travel and tourism sector or industry is here to stay, which will live long as humanity is there. So our students will be working the way, because once the COVID graph, there'll be a plethora of aircrafts, flights, tourism, everything will boom. There'll be a boom, such a boom that the numbers will not be available, and then the vacancy will go skyrocketing. I'm sure about it. Thank you. I hope the students are listening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the satisfactory, very good answer. We hope that we will survive.
It will.
Thanks.
Ma'am, in case if there is no other question,
Yes,
if
sir.
there are no other questions, you can request somebody to propose a word of thanks.
Yeah, you can conclude if there are no more questions.
Thank you, sir, for the elucidative, invigorating speech. And we also thank you for the enthusiastic synergy. Gratitude is the most exquisite form of courtesy. We feel extensively exalted to call upon our didactic Professor Emeritus, MBA Airline and Airport Management Department, Dr. P. Muthuswamy, to adduce the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Yes, please. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mutsami sir, you will have to unmute. Mutsami sir, you will have to unmute and speak. Mutsami
Was
sir,
unmuted.
kindly unmute.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
now I can hear.
Unmuted.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sir, I thank Dr. Abdul Munaf sir for his amazing memory power. We met once 7 years before for our campus. He remembers my name still, and I know his name because he is a VVIP. So whereas I am an ordinary person, so he has met so many people like in the industry, and so many meetings he has attended. Still he remembers my name. Then second time when he visited, I was on leave. So anyway, I must first extend my warm welcome to you, sir, once again for the webinar through digital platform. If not, we will have another. I want to invite you once again to this campus, sir, because our memory still remains green, and your face also. I feel, sir, your photo, you have grown younger now after so many years. So many years.
That's a nice compliment. Thank you.
So, because very happy to see our friends once again after a long time. So now this topic is very interesting, very up to date. These exigencies, emergencies that is occurring in airports, and airport is a vulnerable place for such incidents and accidents. So there is an English proverb, there is many a slip between the cup and the sip. So between the landing of aircraft and reaching the platform to offload the passengers, many things happens. So in 2001 in Mangalore airport, the pilot landed happily, but did not reach the ramp. That happened. between Kabul and Kandahar. The passengers, the man entered like a passenger and turned to be a terrorist, and we know what happened to that flight. So, and then similarly, the Twin Tower attack. So many things happen. So every minute we do not know what will happen in the airport for the passengers, towards the passengers' safety, to the aircraft, to the properties of the facilities of the airport, as well as this happens not only in the air side but also in terminal side, from the in the passenger handling process. All these things you have explained to us how you as an airport manager has faced and solved this problem. And this was a wonderful session. We have learned a lot of things, how to solve these exigencies that is happening in our campus. We also have a course, emergency rescue operations. The professors from Malaysia come here and teach our students also. So your presentation now has added more value to the knowledge of the students who are learning through our own teaching and textbooks, and also from our value-added courses from the Malaysian teachers. So that this session was very useful. First, let me thank you very much for your sparing valuable time in spite of your busy schedules. So as you spoke like because you are as a director of the Bharatiya Academy, that is institutions. You spoke like a very seasoned academician and explained to the audience about this managing exigencies. Also, you gave some career guidance and how to develop a positive attitude so that they can manage such situations to our students. So thank you very much, sir. My profuse thanking for you. Then our CEO, so a very busy person, he has spared his valuable time to preside over our webinar and addressed also very nicely the presidential address. Thank you, sir, our CEO, sir. Thank you very much. This webinar I happened to see this yesterday only by surprise that our dean has arranged this webinar, especially on the airport-related subject, the exigencies in airport management. So that too, he invited a familiar person to this campus, Dr. Abdul Manaf. So thank you, our dean, sir, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sorry for the disturbance. So and then so many participants, my MBA students, also BSc students, and the faculties attended this. I thank everybody for this their presence in the webinar. I thank our Malia madam for her excellent MOC work and also the introduction of the chief guest. So then I thank all my colleagues who helped to conduct this webinar excellently well. Thank you, sir, very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, our HOD. Thank you, our Takshinamurthy sir. Our staff members are there here. Rajanandini madam. So all others are there. So thank you, my dear MBA students, both. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Take care. God bless.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a wonderful session, sir. It was a very informative, very useful to all the students and faculties. Thank you very much, sir.
It is now time to wrap up today's mind-boggling session with due regard and respect to our motherland.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मागे, गाहे तव जय गाथा। जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे, जय 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 हे।
Thank you, Chief Guest. Thank you, dignitaries and all other participants. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mallika madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabas.
Dr. Munaf. Dr. Munaf, thank you so much, sir. It was really detailed, well explained, and a wonderful speech. We all enjoyed. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time and for being with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.